man. Thank you. That's my buddy Dom. He's getting married today. I love that guy. Well, it's been a wild ride in equity markets and risk assets for that matter since the Brexit vote last week. And while we've seen a bounce in a lot of stocks and other assets over the past couple days, a lot of trends did actually break. And I think particularly things like biotechnology through the IBB ETF does look like it wants to head lower through a multi-week, maybe a multi-month lens. So that's what I'd like to look at with you guys today to see what opportunities I see setting up there. So let me ask you something. If you have a stock that looks something like this, rally, topping out, and then it just continues to make a series of lower highs and lower lows. What is the path of least resistance? Clearly, the path of least resistance is to the downside until something dramatically changes, until some catalyst comes along, whether that's fundamental, technical, or something totally different. Right now, in biotechnology land, there is no such event happening just yet. So the path of least resistance remains lower. Let's look at the charts. Okay, so let's briefly look at the chart here of the IBB. This, of course, is the iShares NASDAQ Biotechnology Index that everyone focuses on, and indeed it is a very good vehicle. So as you can see here, this chart very much reflects what I showed you guys before on the whiteboard. Very sharp rally, and ever since basically topping out here in the summer of 2015, so actually just about a year ago, the IBB biotechnology ETF has more or less just been making a series of lower highs and lower lows. Right now, this ETF is at a very critical spot, and that critical spot is this red line, which is the 200-week moving average. As you can see, that moving average has never really been violated, or certainly not since the big stampede higher began. So this is a real litmus test. In my eye, this ultimately likely has to break on a weekly closing basis before, at the very earliest, we have a better chance of seeing some sort of a turnaround. So I think this breakdown fake out that we saw so far this week is not good enough. We need to see a move lower before some sort of stabilizer can happen before we go back higher. There's a lot of technical stuff that we can do, even Fibonacci extension stuff and stuff that's quite frankly not really within the scope of these free videos. Nonetheless, my point is that I think the weight is very clearly pushing against this 200-week moving average. This may be somewhat too simplistic for some people, but the reality is that that's what's taking place here. You can see the 50-week moving average crossing below the 100-week moving average. That's the yellow and blue respectively. So to me, a lot of evidence here pointing that the IBB is going to point lower. If we have a quick look at this on the daily chart, let me bring that up real quick so you guys can see. Very similar situation here. Again, a lot of weight basically on this very simple line of resistance here. You can see there was support here up until about January of this year, and then this horizontal line of resistance became resistance, I should say, around the 290 mark, and now basically we are breaking down. So to me, this is not something you want to chase IBB higher. I do think IBB basically, at the very least, has to get into the low 200s or so in this area and start buying it. So to me, bounces are still opportunities to sell. Now, if I could just not fall off this bike.